Hey there, welcome back to The Truth is Somewhere, a conspiracy theory podcast. And today we'll be talking about...
A listener suggestion!
A listener suggestion!
Yes, so Lacey slid into our DMs and told us that she and her husband had recently come across a crazy theory and wanted us to know about it, and it piqued my interest, so we're going to talk about it today.
Yes.
So the year is 1842. And Sir Richard Owen was the superintendent of the British Museum's Natural History Department.
I just feel like the name Sir Richard Owen should be said like, Sir Richard Owen!
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we come across him again, could you?
Okay, I will do my best. I'll do my best. At the time, 1842, fossils were being discovered in southern England, and Sir Richard Owen noticed that they all seemed to share distinctive features.
Oh.
So he went on to name this class of beast Dinosauria.
Okay.
Dinos coming from Greek meaning fearfully great.
Oh.
And that was later simplified to terrible. And sauros meaning lizard. So dinosaurs were originally classified by name as fearfully great lizards, later shortened down to terrible lizards.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. I mean, that makes sense. I didn't realize that that's what their name, boiled down to.
Terrible lizards.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's, pretty interesting. Though, weren't they birds?
Well, yeah, but they didn't know that then.
Well, yeah, and I think that there's probably a bridge there somewhere that they're closely related to both, but dinosaurs are now more bird-like. Mm-hmm. I mean, birds and lizards are pretty similar in a lot of ways.
Okay.
Most of them have a very elongated face. They lay eggs. They're very diverse. They have 4 limbs, a tail.
Okay, lots
claws,
of things have 4 limbs, a tail, and claws.
Eyes, a respiratory system.
Sure. Okay, everything's very similar. I understand now. So, Sir Richard Owen went on to found the Natural History Museum of London, which still is at the forefront of paleontology research today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Enter conspiracy theory.
Okay. He made it up. With a 3D printer, he printed all the bones.
Yeah, let's go. No. But dinosaurs are not real, and he made it all up.
But what about the rest of it?
No, not 3D printers.
I mean, what about the bones that we're still finding?
I'll get there.
Oh.
We'll get there.
The Earth is just one giant 3D printer.
That's exactly what it is.
Making dinosaur bones to fool us and the Christians.
Breaking news.
No, I mean, the Christians are onto it. They know the Earth is, 3,000 years old?
Well, some Christians... So, actually...
I don't want to... I am lumping when I say Christians. I'm lumping.
That's not what I don't want to get into that right now, because that's a part of this later.
Oh, my apologies. I have a tendency to...
You really do. You just walk all over all the research I've done.
It's not research. It's your order that I walk on. You just need to be more flexible.
Sure. Okay. First, though, some theorists point out that before Owen conveniently invented the term dinosaur in the 1800s, every single creature that had a story regarding... Rewind. Every single culture, not creature.
Okay.
Every single culture had a story regarding dragons. It's true. Most cultures did have some sort of story regarding dragons.
Yep, some sort.
And they were written about as fact in historical documents from Europe and China, and written about as fact in the Bible. I would like to argue that things written about as fact in the Bible are verifiably not true.
I think that we're not a religious podcast. I think that maybe one day we can talk about the Bible as a conspiracy theory.
Maybe we can. But it's just really interesting because a lot of these things that I was reading was like, well, it's written as fact in the Bible, and I was like, that's your argument? That's your good argument?
Hold on. If it's written as fact, that doesn't mean it is fact.
Fair. But there are historical references to dragons. They are right about that. So dinosaurs were literally never documented before the 1800s when Owen named them. So these theorists believe that dinosaurs are really just a theory, and dragons are, in fact, the fact.
Oh, so dragons are real.
Dragons are real, dinosaurs are fake.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that.
So it's a very, very small faction of people who believe that dinosaurs aren't real.
Dragons were real.
Think that dragons are real. Very small faction. But I wanted to lead with it because I found it compelling.
It just seems to me like it would be more fathomable.
Fathomable.
Yes. To think that dinosaurs just lived in a later time period and that dragons aren't real. It's dinosaurs. They just called them dragons back then.
Sure. Well, that's the thing that's interesting to me is, like, so for some fucking arbitrary reason, everybody just decided to stick with dinosaur instead of dragon? Like, what? Why? Right?
I don't understand what you're saying right there.
Well, if we were to take this as fact, that they're really dragons and dinosaurs are a theory, why the fuck did nobody go, no, they're dragons?
Well, because I think that they're like, oh, we invented something new, and dragons are obviously fanciful in the 1840s. I'm sure that people believe that dragons were fanciful. So you don't want to call them dragons.
Okay.
If you do, I wouldn't be surprised if there was something in a newspaper back then that said, real life dragons,
sure.
The new dinosaurs.
Yeah. Fair.
Or known as dinosaurs, yeah.
Fair.
Something along those lines.
So really interesting. I read an article that ranted about indoctrination and how children are just taught to trust that scientists who study dinosaurs are correct.
Mm-hmm.
When dinosaurs are really just a theory and dragons are what's real. And
I
really, I wanted to tell that dude to take a chill pill. I was like, are we really, we're just arguing over semantics here. Like, dragon, dinosaur, same thing, terrible lizard. I don't, why are we arguing about whether or not it's a dinosaur or it's a dragon? Let's move on.
Are we arguing about whether it can breathe fire or not? Like, is that the...
I don't know, Komodo dragons can't breathe fire.
Well, no.
And we call them dragons.
Yeah, but that's, like, not their real name. I mean, it's not their scientific name.
No, that's
Komodo
true.
dragon is just... They're called dragons because they're the biggest lizards, so they appear the most like dragons.
So then why didn't we call dinosaurs dragons if they're the biggest lizards, right? Doesn't matter. Semantics. Dragon, dinosaur, same thing. Yeah. Big, terrible lizard. Same thing.
Pig, terrible lizard.
That was my whole point.
Yep.
Anyway, we're gonna go on to some slightly more compelling items as far as conspiracies go.
Mm-hmm.
Because that one is, like, not so far-fetched where they're like, well, there's all this historical evidence of dragons, so why aren't they just dragons, and why did we invent a new term? Okay, whatever, fine. I don't care what you call them.
They wanted to be scientific about it.
So, there are supposedly no documented discoveries of dinosaur bones before the mid-1800s, but I kind of wonder if this isn't a semantic problem as well, because they hadn't been named before the mid-1800s, so who the fuck knows if they had been found and documented as something else?
I mean, that's true. I feel like we would classify that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, that would be the kind of thing where we'd go back and we'd look at other things where people were saying dragon bones, you know, or something along those lines and get it. But I don't know. I
just feel like that's not quantifiable to say that nobody ever found them until the mid-1800s.
I would agree with that.
I don't think that that's quantifiable. Anyway, we're gonna go with the idea, though, that there are no documented dinosaurs found before that time. And then suddenly in the late 1800s to early 1900s, we're finding dinosaurs fucking everywhere.
They're just fornicating on everything.
So between 1870 and 1880, it was known as the Great Dinosaur Rush or the Bone Wars.
Yeah. The Great Dinosaur Rush or the Bone Wars.
Or the Bone Wars.
Uh-huh.
And during this time, Edward Drinker Cope from the Academy of Natural Sciences and Othniel Marsh of the Peabody Museum of Natural History began hunting for dinosaurs in hopes of finding more than the other one. So they had a competition going to find more dinosaurs. So during that feud, there was a lot of slander and bribery, theft, spying, and destruction of bones that had been found.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, real unfortunate. In the end, Marsh is said to have discovered over 500 different ancient species, including 80 dinosaurs.
Okay.
While Cope discovered 56 dinosaurs. However, Of those 136 dinosaurs, only 32 are still considered valid species today. The rest had been fabricated in hopes of them winning the competition.
Oh, wow.
So, like, truly, there was some fabrication going on.
Yeah.
Like, that was a thing that was happening. Oh, and something that I should go back and mention is that Sir Richard Owens...
Sir Richard Owens!
Or maybe it was just Owen, now I can't remember. Named the dinosaurs based off of some teeth. Like, he didn't have anything bigger than teeth, and he was just like, terrible lizard!
Oh, okay.
I don't know if it was, like, the formation of their teeth compared to lizard. I don't know what it was. But he just invented this entire species based off of teeth.
Wow.
That is something that I should mention.
I mean, giant teeth like that, though, that's pretty impressive.
Very impressive. Godzilla. So you've got these fabricated dinosaurs, a lot. A lot. The 104. 104 were proven to be false, not real.
That is ridiculous.
That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
So you add to this the fact that a total skeleton has literally never been found.
At that point.
Still.
I don't know if that's entirely true. They've got some, like, look at, like, Velociraptor. They've got a whole Velociraptor just encased in stone, and you can see the feathers off it and everything.
Okay. Do you know when they found that? Because I think these articles were from, like, maybe 5 years ago.
Oh, I don't know.
So
I'm not sure.
And all of the articles said they've never found a whole one.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
I am clearly wrong, because I didn't dig any further than this. I should have researched that more.
Well,
but this is part of the theory, is because they've never been found.
Well, maybe there was a toe bone missing.
Maybe.
All things considered, like, a bone being missing is...
Sure, bone being missing is not a big deal.
That's like saying, hey, I've got this puzzle, right? This really cool puppy dog puzzle that I put together.
And there's one piece missing.
And it's... I expect you to keep it together and take it with you, you know, let it sit outside for, you know, a millennia, and don't lose any of the pieces.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to look up, and maybe we'll add a correction onto the end of this after we're done recording, if we look it up.
Sure.
Anyway, all of the research said that this is a reason that it's a big theory, is because it had never been found.
Okay. Also, I argue, how do they have, like, big T-Rexes standing in museums?
Those aren't real.
Those
are actually, like, fabrications.
Oh, are those?
Like, all of those things that you see in museums, none of that is a real bone.
Oh, I had no idea.
That's all, like, plaster.
I had no idea.
Like, that's even... They even talk about that in, like, documentaries and stuff. They're like, oh no, we've reconstructed the bones the way the ones we have found look, and the way we think that they would all go together.
Oh, interesting.
Because they're not gonna put real bones out where people can fucking, like, be breathing on them. Like, the real bones are locked away in vaults in the museums.
That makes sense.
They're not out on display.
That makes sense.
So all of that is replica. All of that is reproduction.
Well, I mean, it's hard to... You say it like that, but, like, the Mona Lisa...
Sure.
Is out on display. You can't only get so close to it, but...
I recently read an article about how a lot of, like, high art in museums is also, like, replicas, where they have, like, hidden away the originals and they've put replicas out for public viewing.
Sure.
So...
I would imagine they do that, but they at least don't say it.
Yeah, they don't tell you what's a replica or not.
Sure. But the Mona Lisa is supposedly sitting out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Truly, like, museums are like, oh no, we keep that under, like, climate control.
That makes absolute sense. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. So, well, because you don't want, like, your 5-year-old to be able to smear peanut butter on a multi-million-dollar piece of a T-Rex, right?
Right.
No. Theorists point out that dinosaur fossils have never been found by disinterested parties. I'm gonna prove that wrong in a little bit, but...
Okay.
That's what the theorists say.
Uh-huh.
Farmers, ranchers, or construction workers digging to build basements never find dinosaur bones. But somehow teams of paleontologists set out to a certain area, start digging, and manage to find astounding numbers of little fossils in a relatively small research area.
Okay.
For instance, in the late 1990s, Dr. Luis Chiappa and Dr. Lowell Dingus discovered the largest known nesting site in the world that contained thousands of eggs.
Oh, wow.
Thousands. And theorists claim that these kind of finds go against the laws of natural probability and lends credence to the idea that the finds are either fabricated entirely or were planted ahead of time.
Okay.
Something really interesting is that some of the eggs that were found in this nesting site, they were actually able to crack open, and they got, like...
petrified.
Some sort of membrane mucus stuff out of it. So, like, actual dinosaur DNA.
Wow.
Wah, 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 wah,
Da,
wah,
da,
wah,
da,
wah,
da. Da, 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 da.
Man creates dinosaur. Dinosaur eats the man. Woman inherits the earth.
Oh, yeah, yes, I forgot that was in there.
Yep. The end. Anyway.
Life, it, finds a way.
Yeah. It kind of ties into last week when we were talking about chaos theory.
Mm-hmm.
Funny enough.
Does it?
Yeah.
How?
Remember we talked about, like, linking chaos theory to spirituality?
Spirituality? Yeah, but what does that have to do with dinosaurs and life, finding a way?
Because the whole life finding a way thing is the chaos theory. Jeff Goldblum, Jurassic Park.
Oh, I guess. You're right. Okay.
Jeez, space.
I mean, it's still kind of a stretch for me, but okay.
Fine. Whatever. Point being, statistically, it is kind of out there to find a place that has thousands of eggs.
Okay,
Like, you set out to look for dinosaurs and you just happen to find thousands of eggs. That's pretty crazy.
Pretty crazy, yeah.
So I get, like, I told you when I was researching this, I was like, some of this stuff I'm kind of like, I could get why somebody would question it.
Right, absolutely.
And I'm able to talk my way out of it. That's the thing, is, like, the more research I did, the more I was like, maybe not.
Yeah,
But this in particular, I was like, yeah, what are the odds? What are the odds that you go out as a paleontologist and you're like, I'm gonna dig here today, and you just find thousands of fucking dinosaur eggs.
Well,
that's nuts.
Now they go out and they've got radio equipment. Mm-hmm. They've got radar.
Well, and they've had that.
And, sound equipment that they can, pulse into the ground and see what's underneath it.
Because even in the 90s, when Jurassic Park was filmed...
Yeah, I think they said they
Alan had some sort of something that was, like, X-raying into the ground. Yeah. Because remember, you could see, like, the whole velociraptor in the ground and that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That's a little fanciful, but...
A little fanciful, but they can find bones, for sure, in that way. The other thing that I would argue is that because oftentimes scientists are actually finding tiny fossils, like teeth, and are actually, I don't know, looking for them, that's the reason they are actually finding them, because do you really think a farmer or a constructor running really big equipment is even going to notice something that looks like a rock? Mm-hmm. No. Like, no, there's very little chance that unless they find something big... By the way, recently somebody found a mammoth bone on the island.
Oh, cool.
On the beach.
Wow.
Yep.
Mammothing.
Amazing?
Mammothazing.
Anyway, just that was an aside that doesn't matter. But I just found that interesting that, like, things are found. Look, by normal people.
By normal people. But a mammoth isn't a dinosaur, and mammoth is only from, like, a couple thousand years ago, truthfully.
And mammoths have been
I say
fully
couple,
proven to have been in existence. Anyway. Anyway, whole idea is construction workers running big equipment probably not going to notice things that look like rocks.
No, and there's a good chance that they might even just dig in there. And the idea behind fossilized remains is they've become stone. Mm-hmm. So there's a good chance you get a backhoe in there and you're digging up whatever. You just broke it and destroyed it, and you're not even going to realize what it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, on the side of the theorists, to be fair, China has discovered that the world of fake fossils is extremely lucrative. Okay. In 1999, a senior editor of National Geographic published a piece about a dinosaur that was incredibly bird-like, and it was named Archaeoraptor, but was discovered to be a fake, in which bones from a bird and bones from an actual small dinosaur were combined to create the fossil.
That's too bad.
And it's become a problem in a certain province in China where the first feathered dinosaur fossil was actually found. The province had a lot of lakes and marshes and volcanic activity during the Cretaceous period, so it's like the perfect place for fossils. So, like, paleontologists have zeroed in on it Makes sense.
Yeah.
But after the discovery of the feathered dinosaur, excavation continued in earnest in the province, and the problem is that most of the fossils aren't being found by paleontologists and researchers. They're being unearthed by incredibly poor farmers who can fetch, literally for them, a lifetime's worth of money or more for a fossil that they find.
That's great.
It is, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's not, because
poor working conditions and...
Well, and the thing that I was reading is, like, there is no way the paleontologists can keep up because China just has so many fucking people. That there's, like, this huge concentration of workers that the paleontologists can't come in and actually do the research, and, like, they're having to... It's illegal to sell fossils, but where there's a will, there's a way, right?
Of course.
And so, this article that I read had a bit of an interview with a paleontologist who works in China, and he was like, it's illegal for me to buy these, but I run the risk of never having that information because I didn't buy the fossil.
Right. That makes sense.
And then the other problem is that it's really important for them to know the level of soil that a fossil comes from in order to know how old that fossil is. That's how they date them.
Yeah.
Which some theorists point out is a problem because they're just dating stuff because it happens to be in this level of dirt, and that doesn't mean that that item is actually that old. Anyway.
Yeah.
But the problem is these fossils that are being purchased from China, no one knows how old they are because we don't know where they were found, like what layer of dirt they were found in, or like the composition of the dirt around them. So they're being treated as though they are all living in the same time period, but they could be truly millions of years apart.
They could be, but I mean, I would imagine they're carbon dating things as well.
That's not what the guy in the article said. The paleontologist said that they rely on the dirt.
Yeah, they probably do rely on, like, the dirt and the level, because sediment and stuff falls, essentially, and you get sediment layers. Like, that's a real thing. You can go look at cliffs and see it, but, I don't know. I don't know their dino detective
His whole thing was
processing.
It's a problem because they can't tell how old they are.
Right.
That was what he said.
Okay.
So there you have it. But that doesn't mean that this province isn't actually producing real fossils. Like, it is. It's just that because scientists don't know what layer of soil the fossils came from, they can't accurately date any of them.
Correct.
And they don't know what else was found around them, and because they aren't being handled by scientists, a lot of the structural integrity and scientific evidence is being destroyed.
That makes sense.
And then because it's such a lucrative business, because you can make so much money off of it, people are making fake ones so that they can make money off of it, and it's perpetuating this problem that theorists then take and run. Because there are fake out there. So they just take that and go, oh, well, this one is fake, that must mean all of them are fake.
Wow,
and that's not scientifically sound.
Yeah, that sounds like what people do about all sorts of news now.
It's true. It is true.
Wow, this one thing is fake. Everything that's like this must be fake. Okay, but why?
But why? Why the theory?
Yeah.
Why are dinosaurs invented? Why are they fake? So it is some huge conspiracy that scientists and apparently governments who fund grants for the research are in on to discredit the Bible and advance the theory of evolution. Supposedly, religious leaders sought to discredit evolution because there was not archaeological proof of the theory. And then, according to theorists, poof, there's all these fossils being found of dinosaurs. And as we moved into the idea that at least some dinosaurs had feathers, theorists claim that it's just pandering to the idea that dinosaurs became birds.
Yeah. I have a couple things to say about that.
Okay.
One, there's actually, like, a very rare genetic alteration that chickens can have, which give them teeth.
And they're terrifying.
They're terrifying. Yeah, and I'm not talking about, like, you and me teeth. Like, their beaks grow, like
scary fangs.
Fangs off of them, like little quills off of them, so that they can bite and tear flesh.
And they're fucking scary.
And they're scary,
they're
right?
Like little miniature velociraptors.
And just on the topic of evolution, there is, like, so much evidence of it just in the time that we've been studying it. Even if we don't look back at the archives of all the things that we're trying to put together, we just pretend like that doesn't exist, animals and creatures that reproduce at a very quick rate, even bacteria and things on that scale change very quickly. They evolve very quickly, and a lot of people can argue, well, that's adaptation. Well, what is
Isn't
adaptation?
That just miniature evolution.
What is adaptation but evolution on a small scale? But more so, I cannot remember. I think it might have been in New York. Regardless, somewhere in the world, there was a subway station that got closed off. And there were mosquitoes inside of it.
Yeah.
Yes. And there were mosquitoes inside of it. And several years later, many generations of surface-dwelling mosquitoes and mosquitoes down in this sewer system, or subway system. I don't know what they lived off of. I'm sure there were other things down there as well, because they had to live off of something. Rats, yeah, things like that. Anyways, reopened. And now those mosquitoes can no longer breed with the other mosquitoes any longer. So, like, they have changed enough that they can't even breed together anymore.
Sure.
And I don't know if that... I can't remember. It's been a long time since I read about that. But I don't remember if that was 5 years that they were in there. I doubt it was anything that short. I'm willing to bet it was at least, like, 30. But, I mean, the theory of evolution... like the mainstream theory of evolution started in the 1800s.
Yeah.
So even if we just said that it started when Charles Darwin was like, this is my theory about evolution, till now, that's still not a lot of time.
No, it's
for
not.
something to change so much that a whole living, reproducing group, completely functioning group of a species can no longer pair because its genetic information has changed so much with what it came from. That's my soapbox.
Okay. Glad that I could give you a soapbox for your science mind.
Yep.
Science. I have a quote that's going to make your science mind hurt.
I probably won't, but...
It's from someone who was a student of paleontology and quit.
They found Christ instead?
And his name is Michael Forsell, something like that. Quote, I started my career in the field of paleontology only to leave my studies once I realized the whole thing was a sham. It's nonsense. Most of the so-called skeletons in museums are actually plaster casts. They even do it openly on documentaries now, preserving the bones my ass. I struggled as a student mainly because I could not tell the difference between a fossilized egg and an ordinary rock, and of course, there is no difference. I was treated like a leper when I refused to buy into their propaganda, and promptly left the course. Dinosaurs never existed. The whole shebang is a freak show. They just grab a couple of old bones and form them into their latest Frankenstein's monster-like exhibit. If dinosaurs existed, they would be mentioned in the Bible. We are all being fooled and it's wrong, but together, we can stop it.
But together, we can stop it.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know, this sounds like an angry student to me.
Right? Like, I wasn't smart enough to figure out the difference between a rock and a fossil, so...
So since I couldn't figure it out,
There's
all
just
wrong.
no difference between a rock and a fossil.
It's all wrong.
Yeah. So initially, it's all about filling in the gaps between sea creatures and reptiles, and then reptiles and birds and mammals. But then people are so interested in dinosaurs that it becomes an industry all on its own.
Oh, absolutely.
So museums start paying companies to make plaster bones and putting them together in requested formations that may or may not be scientifically viable, according to theorists.
Okay.
For instance, theorists claim that the T-Rex, as displayed by museums, simply could not hold up its own weight based on its bone structure.
Okay.
I don't know if there's any scientific backing to that whatsoever. They just say that basically it would be so top-heavy that it would fall over. The tail isn't big enough to counterweight.
You know, I think that with strong enough muscles, you can argue that, but I don't know enough about it. I know a T-Rex was about the size of an elephant, much smaller than
what we think.
Than what we generally think of when we... I mean, still huge.
Yeah.
Elephants are huge, but, like, what you think about, like, the way they look when they're in movies, I think the T-Rex in Jurassic Park was probably about twice the size of an actual T-Rex. Or
because
maybe not...
scarier, right?
Yeah, or maybe it wasn't, and that's just clever perspective, but I'm willing to bet they made it bigger.
Yeah.
But, my point is, however, that I don't know what their muscular build was like.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't tell you whether that was true or not. But regardless, those, I guess some smart people put that together, and I just feel like there'd be better ways to discount Christianity, to discount religion in the Bible.
Right? Like, what? This is an awful lot of effort.
Yeah, that's how I feel about most of these conspiracies. Like, no one's taken the easy route. They're making this as complicated as possible.
Mm-hmm. So now dinosaurs are a several billion-dollar industry that indoctrinates children through movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Theorists point to the fact that the paleontological advisor on Jurassic Park franchise says that a lot of what dinosaurs look like is guesswork, because of course we have no idea what color they were.
Sure.
Like, we don't have any evidence to that.
Yeah.
All we have is bones, and of course we can't possibly know how much a dinosaur actually weighed. T-Rex.
No.
Because all we have is bones. We don't know how much weight that creature actually carried around.
We have a good guess.
Yeah.
We can make a good guess. We can take a body mass index of like an elephant and compare it to something built similarly that was probably
bipedal.
A little bit bipedal and a little bit more muscular, and assume that that's about the size or about the weight that it would be. But no one's gonna know exactly what it's gonna be like. For all we know, T-Rex could have had a shiny, reflective rainbow coat.
For all we know, it's true.
Right.
It could be like oil slick. Like,
yeah,
for sure. We don't know what they look like. They've just given it their best shot.
Yeah.
Their best logical shot.
Well, and what happens with these is scientists normally say, hey, this is what we have. This is what we surmise. This is what we think that it looks like. Artist, fill in the blanks. And artists will go in and they'll say, well, this is all the information that I have. I'm going to use my artistry skill, to take artistic liberties and make it look how I would want it to look. So that's what happens.
Yeah.
And some people, like the idea of feathers. So when they draw new dinosaurs up, they're like, well, they didn't say anything about feathers or no feathers, and so let's put some feathers on it. But not to say that there aren't.
Because we have found dinosaurs.
We have found feathers on dinosaurs, and I think that feathers make a lot of sense because bare skin doesn't keep you very warm.
It's true. And when you because lizards are cold-blooded, right? And they have to be in the sun a lot.
That doesn't mean dinosaurs were, though.
No. But I was just validating what you were saying.
Yeah. As
far as it doesn't keep you warm.
You're right.
And also when you look at something like a velociraptor or a T-Rex, you can kind of see a similar bone structure to a bird.
Yeah. I mean, even beforehand, actually that stone slab I was talking about earlier is one of the biggest things they talk about, where they're like, look at this slab, look at his hands, or his well, I don't know if you'd call them paws, his arms and his whatever. The area where the hands, the claws should be, are tilted back in such a way, and you can actually see where the fingers are slightly elongated,
where it looks like a wing.
It could be potentially like a wing, right? And it's interesting because if you look at bats, which are a mammal, and you look at birds, and you look at dinosaurs, well, specifically between the bats and the birds, they both have evolved flight, right? But their wing structures are completely different, because a bat, its hand has essentially come out to the end of it and its fingers have sprawled back, where the birds have essentially turned their wrist into another joint to fly with. So they both have wings, but their skeletal structure is entirely different.
Yeah.
And the dinosaur's skeletal structure
is very similar
to a bird. And it's not like that just started showing up. It's not like we just started finding those fossils.
Right.
Right? Velociraptors in the 80s were the same, their hand structure was the same as it is now.
Right.
And maybe a theorist is going to say, oh, well, that's why they started making that connection, because someone realized that it was close to that. But I don't know. I think that that's some deep thought that...
It's just too much work.
Yeah.
But what would a conspiracy theory be without mention of the Masons? It ties back into the Freemasons, of fucking course, right?
Yeah, of course.
Apparently, National Geographic is owned by Rupert Murdoch, who is apparently also known as a Mason.
Mm-hmm.
Universal Studios produced Jurassic Park and Land Before Time. They are owned by Comcast, whose main shareholders are J.P. Morgan and the Rothschild families, who are also apparently known Masons.
Oh.
And the Discovery Channel, the great producer of dino documentaries, also advised by N.M. Rothschild and Sons Limited. Masons got their hands all up in the dinosaur business.
Everything. I mean, think about it.
They just have their hands up in everything. Like, think about those names.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they have their hands on everything.
Yeah.
Which is why there's, conspiracy theories about Masons anyway.
Yeah.
We'll get to that someday.
I mean, and you gotta think, who's making those bones? Masons. They're builders, right? They're builders, right?
That's not a connection that I expected you to draw, but I like it.
Yeah, what'd you expect me to draw?
I don't know. That was just really good.
Okay.
I just thought it was good.
Okay.
I have another quote from what looks like something that wanted to be a scholarly article, but was very clearly not.
Okay.
It was written by a person named Jeremy James.
A two-namer. Okay.
Two-namer.
What was his middle name?
I don't know.
John.
Right.
Jeremy John James.
Quote.
From Jeremy John James.
The dinosaur hoax was carried out by the same clique, British Lucifarians, Freemasons, Unitarians, and deists, all of whom hate Christianity and are determined to destroy it, that also devised a host of other lies to discredit the Book of Genesis. They claim that the Earth is a spinning globe, when in reality it is both flat and stationary, that the Earth is billions of years old, when it is only a few thousand years old, that the universe began with a big bang, where nothing became something, and this something then expanded and cooled to produce everything, that all life evolved from lifeless chemical constituents, and that the Earth is located in a solar system at the periphery of a vast, dark, meaningless cosmos. End quote.
Wow, so this sounds like someone that has, spent their time to learn, and just because it sounds like they're like, listen to all of these big important things. Okay, yeah. What did you say that discredited those? And that's a lot. That's the whole bunch of stuff right there just to be like.
And he says all of it's fake.
All of it.
All of it.
Why though?
Because the Bible says so.
I mean,
that same guy went on to say that all of these people that are talking about dinosaurs are actually agents of Satan.
Oh, okay. When you were reading the beginning of it, when you said the dinosaur hoax was carried out by the same clique, British Lucifarian, Freemason, I looked up and I saw deists, but my brain said dentists. Unitarians and dentists. So it was British Lucifarians, Freemasons, Unitarians, and dentists. And I think that needs to be our video, our tag.
Those damn dentists just making up dinosaurs. Dinosaurs were invented by dentists.
So I was giggling to myself already when you then said something about the Earth being flat, and so I was laughing even more about that. But those damn dentists.
Mm-hmm.
They're
damn dinosaur inventing dentists.
You know why? I mean, dentists are putting radios in our head.
What?
Yeah.
Is this something you've actually heard?
I mean, I think I have heard it, but I don't know if it's... What? We'll have to look into it. I don't think it's anything super serious, but I have heard it before, where people have thought, I mean, that's like serious conspiracy theory stuff. That's nuts. That's like whole nother level. Some guy lives in his house, or some guy lives in his friend's or mom's basement and like compiles paperwork. Dirty nasty teeth because he never goes to the dentist because the dentists are putting radio receivers and transmitters.
Like actual tinfoil hat.
Yeah, tinfoil hat kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the dinosaurs are a hoax theory is propagated by crazy religious nutbags that think that it's all a push for evolution and to discredit the Bible.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny?
Well, but what's funny is, like, there is a sect of Christianity that believes that dinosaurs did exist and that they existed at the same time as us. Like, Jesus rode dinosaurs.
Yeah, Jesus.
Right?
That and Velociraptor Jesus.
Because there's the Creationism Museum in, like, bumfuck nowhere. It's like Nebraska or something. I don't know where it is. Don't quote me on it. There's literally, like, dinosaurs standing next to, like, cavemen kind of, like, deal.
You know what I find really funny is there are these people that are like, oh, it's trying to discredit the Bible. And I'm like, I don't see a connection to the Bible.
Yeah.
And you have most of my friends...
Because it's not intelligent design.
Most of my friends who are Christian, I've had conversations with them about it. Most, not all, believe that, you know, there's a lot of loose interpretations in the Bible, and that, you know, maybe billions of years is 7 days when you're a god, when you're the god, right? Yeah. So things like that, and they're like, yeah, of course dinosaurs could exist. It was written by man, so there's going to be errors in the Bible, and, you know, not everyone's gonna think about that, but still. That's kind of, I think that's a good way to look at it. And then you're not discrediting the Bible, the thing that you believe in, but you're also being open-minded enough to see that the world is changing and different and isn't what everyone thought it was 2,000 years ago.
So anyway, that's what I got.
That's what you got?
That's what I got.
I think that that is quite interesting.
Yeah,
I had a feeling that the no dinosaur thing was going to go religious.
Yeah.
It just seems like it would. Though I can like, from a non-religious standpoint, I can understand why some people might be skeptics.
Oh yeah, for sure. When it was like, when they were talking about the, like, oh, you just happen to find 1,000 dinosaur eggs when you're out here looking for dinosaurs. Like, that's a logical argument.
Right,
like,
and
the
most
probability of that.
And most of them in museums aren't even, or none of them in museums are even real. I'm sure there's some behind glass cases that are real. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there's some logical arguments to be had here. Their logic is flawed and it doesn't hold up, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
Because I really hate that idea of, like, just discrediting entire bodies of presidents.
I agree.
Not presidents, scientists.
I agree.
Like,
yeah,
I don't, because I'm not conspiracy-minded, I just can't see where I'm like, oh yes, this entire sect of science is just lying to us for no fucking reason.
Yeah, you know, show me a sane, respected paleontologist that was like,
dinosaurs aren't real.
Dinosaurs aren't real.
No.
They're not,
it doesn't exist. Going to. No. Because dinosaurs are real.
You know, and
full stop.
Even if, you know, they're like, oh, well, they don't want to do it. They don't want to say it because they don't want to ruin their careers. Someone is going to. Yeah, someone is going to say...
You can't keep everybody quiet. You can't.
You can't.
Not on a lie on this scale.
That's how I feel about most of these large-scale conspiracies, is that there are just too many people. Too many variables to account for. Cooks. Yeah. I mean, probably not too many cooks. Probably not too many cooks. Because then it's a problem.
Then it's a problem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well...
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TTIS Podcast. Questions, comments, concerns, you can email us at thetruthissomewherepodcast@gmail.com. If you like what we're doing, you can hop on over to iTunes, leave us a positive review, helps other people find us. If you really like what we're doing, you can hop on over to Patreon, also at TTIS Podcast. You can hop on over to merch at thetruthissomewhere.threadless.com. See show notes, links to everything that we've discussed in thetruthissomewhere.com, and I think that is absolutely everything I have to share. Thank you, Lacey, for sending us this fascinating topic. Hit us up on any of the social media or the email if you have topics that you want us to cover.
Yeah, we have that podcast group on Facebook, like you'd mentioned.
Yes.
Great place to have a conversation, share some funny memes, maybe some conspiracy theory stuff. We'll respond. We'll have fun with it.
Yep. The truth is somewhere, guys. Keep looking.
Yeah.